We're going to show you how to fit an irregular above the knee amputation. First, you're going to want to start with your patient's range of motion on both the stump and the good leg. Now you're going to want to measure the length of the stump, the proximal circumference, the medial circumference, as well as the distal circumference. Once we found our socket, we added some foam to make sure that it was a good fit and had our patient bear weight to make sure that everything was comfortable. Once you find the socket you're going to use, make sure to mark the anterior and posterior sides. With the irregular AK, we used the same knee joint but took off the internal plate and used the BK disc. Make sure to mark the midline axis on your knee joint. Place in the internal disc and align it and mark where you're going to drill the holes. Use a spring punch to start the holes and a small step bit to drill the holes. The distal end of our socket was a little thick, so we sanded it down. Once flat, we aligned the knee joint to the axis and screwed in the screws in a diagonal order. The knee joint should flex and extend in the sagittal plane. Now have the patient wear the socket and hold down the knee flex so you can measure the inside and get the pylon length. Make sure to subtract 5 centimeters for the foot. For the strap holes, the first one should be at the greater trochanter and the second one should be from the midline, 1/3 towards the pubic symphysis. Use a 5 milliliter drill bit to drill the holes and make sure to tap both holes as well. Now for a right AK, take off the strap bits and align them on the ground and make sure all buckles are facing up. When clipped, the buckle loop should be on the right. Using temporary screws, attach the small head to the pubic symphysis and the long head towards the greater trochanter. To make sure that our pylon fit, we opened up the proximal and distal flanges. Make sure to sand off the P on the foot. Then we use an angle grinder to sand off the pylon and use set screws to attach it. Place the socket midline between the big toe. A large step bit to make a medial ventilation hole to drag the sock through. Use shims and palpate the aces to make sure that the legs are even. Once even, make sure that the straps are in the correct place by using clamps. The small head should be 2 centimeters below the iliac crest while the long head rests at the hip. Once the straps are in the correct spot, have your patient walk around to check their gait. Once checked off, it's time for cosmetics, and the first thing you're going to do is drill a through hole, and make sure to tap it as well. You can go ahead and Loctite and impact drill all the set screws and the through bolt at the proximal flange. Grab a calf muscle, and the first thing is you're going to want to cut off 5 centimeters at the end with the Sawzall. Make sure to cut off whatever you need at the proximal end using a jigsaw. Now sand the calf muscle to make it even and use a drill bit to Dremel in the hole to widen it up. Once the calf muscle is ready, take off the foot and slide it in. Once the calf muscle is in with the PVC ring, you can now Loctite and impact drill a through bolt and all the set screws at the bottom. Use an awl to puncture the holes at where you want the straps to be, slide in the male and female quick rivets and hammer them into place. Replace the temporary screws with brass tubular rivets and use an anvil and a hammer to place them in. For the last steps, make sure to heat gun, super glue, and hot glue the PVC ring into place. Now your patient is ready to go and ready to start walking.